Good morning and welcome. Beautiful sunrise to do some Qigong once again. For today's version of our sunrise Qigong, we'll be doing our Dao Wu Zang, which we've done a few times in this series, and then incorporate the 10 Fingers Qigong from a YouTube source called Brother Insight. And I've been looking for more kind of Qigong inspiration. I want to continue being a Qigong content creator, and so it's nice to absorb the stuff that's out there that's really helpful. And Brother Insight has nice, succinct little 20 to 25 minute videos that I'll include in the description, a link to his version of this 10 Fingers Qigong. But yeah, I'm excited to share it with you because it's powerful Qigong. So all right, let's get our bodies warmed up and lined up and aligned with the flow and take it through all of our major organs with our Dao Wu Zang Qigong. And so I'm warming up my hands. I like to get the Qi moving all the way to the fingertips where the channel pathway is open. It also helps me to kind of clear my mind and start to get into my breath. And it makes me start to wiggle my toes and kind of grip the ground and grip the carpet with my feet. As I breathe, then I can start to look and feel for a connection between those two areas, my feet and my hands. Then I can start to build my Wuji posture, finding that soft, gentle bend in the knees, the open sacrum and the low back. Find my shoulder blades just naturally want to roll back and down, a nice long neck. Brings my ears up towards the ceiling. And that kicks my elbows out, brings my arms off of my torso and my legs so that Qi can flow freely there. And I imagine my feet start to melt and widen. They start to become these pools, really help me feel my connection with the ground get broader, get wider. Then those pools, they grow these roots that reach right down into the earth. They reach laterally to give me stability side to side. But also the big toes and the arches reach straight down. These tap roots that reach right towards the core of the earth. As they do so, they get supported, they get vibrated by the life force of the earth, this golden light. This golden elixir can be imagined and felt rising up those roots and filling into those pools of feet, filling into the legs, the joints, filling up ultimately into the pelvis, filling into the spine and the torso, the ribs, filling down into the arms, this golden light, filling even up into the neck and filling into the head. And then this opening at the top of the head allows the silver light to rise up out of the top of the head. Keep inhaling and exhaling, and feel the silver light reach out and interact with the cosmos, with the sun, the moon, with the planets and the stars, with the galaxies that we can see. All of that twinkles and sparkles and shines down through that silver light, down through the top of the head, twinkling and sparkling with all of the golden energy from the earth, even into the roots. We can imagine this golden light starts to wrap around us. This kind of liquid gold that creates this warm and comfortable protection around us. It only allows that which is of service to us, blocks anything that might distract us. Creates a buffer, filter. Imagine and feel that golden light fill the whole space around you, maybe even around building that you're in, maybe even the whole city. Then notice your roots, wiggle your fingers, feel that connection all the way through to the tips of your fingers. And then let's pull down the heavens. Let's grow our hands really long, like great spades that reach into the earth and grab onto that golden elixir and fill our palms overflowing. As we continue inhaling and rising over the head, we gather all that cosmic energy, twinkling and sparkling and combining, and the new energy gets pulled right through our body, melting and relaxing, preparing. We gather. Keeping our knees relaxed and our sacrum open and relaxed and melting. Feeling our joints wake up, become a little more lubricated with this third inhale of the head, gathering these two differing energies that combine into something new, allowing it to remind the body to be new in this morning moment, all the way out the toes, up the roots. Good, and go ahead and take a little wider stance. Let's start to twist. Twisting around the spine, letting our muscles kind of dictate just how far around we're going to go. Then also notice that they warm up pretty quickly, ready for us to get that full expression. Letting your arms drift at the sides, they kind of impact the sides of the body, the sides of the arms, come to the top of the shoulders, even the roots of the root of the neck. Backhand, giving a little pat to the kidneys, to the ribs. Bring a soft knee. Letting the breath come and go. Start to bring yourself back towards slowing down. We do so gently. Don't want to just stop abruptly. It's nice sometimes to be patient and give yourself the space to really slow all the way down. Gives a new perspective of your torso and how your meridians all work together to make that movement happen. Feel this connection through the torso and the neck and the head. Back into your Wuji posture. And let's just gather the energy that's right around. We're not going to dig all the way into the earth. We're just going to gather the chi that's around just to kind of give us this chi shower. Inhale, lift it over the head. Just wash over the surface of the body, all the way down out the feet. Yeah, it's nice, like refresher, especially after the muscles start to get worked. Cool. Let's keep warming up these channel pathways and connecting this fingertips to the toes idea. So with a soft fist, just start to give yourself a little pat on these outer channels. Noticing the areas that are a little bit tender. Sometimes those tender areas need a little extra pat or two. And the amount of pressure is up to you. Kind of like with the twisting, pay attention. Also want to do the inside of the arms. You pay attention to what your body's kind of calling for. Oops. Start here at the hands and move my way up. Also from the torso out to the fingertips. Both directions happen. And we come across the chest. Big channel pathway coming from the face that just goes right down the chest to the center of the sternum. Coming with some fingertips down the sternum and then clockwise around the navel. Getting a lot more channel pathways than just this front one that goes down, but definitely this kind of cascading idea from the face and the eyes that's come down the chest and then kind of meat tenderized the quads to help open that channel pathway through the kneecap, cupping the hands on the kneecaps. And just going to where your body's comfortable, but if you can, moving your way down the shins, even the tops of the feet, those middle toes, and then coming up to the side body. Soft fists on the as high up on these side ribs as you can. Again, looking for those tender areas, spending a little extra time, and then modulating your own pressure. What feels good? Ooh, I go to the ice bands. Definitely want a little bit harder pressure. Man, with the tight. And I'm more gentle to the sides of the knees. A lot happening in there, so not as vigorous. And then the outsides of the shins, they can take it so a little bit more. And again, the tops of the feet, the outside tops of the feet, and then we come as high as we can up on the back. Keeping our breath. Bringing the shoulders down out of the ears as quick as we can. Focusing on the glutes, the backs of the hamstrings. Bending so we can really get to behind the kneecap and the calves if we can. And to the floor. Good, shaking the hands out a little bit. All right. Let's do another pulling down heavens just to bring us all the way back into our feet. A lot of buzzing going on for me right now, which is nice. Makes me feel nice and awake. I want to keep that clarity in my mind, so I always bring a pulling down heavens in between some of the vigorous movements, just to remind me my goal is to stay nice and centered. Inhaling to gather, exhaling to pull it through. Cool. Let's just jump right into the Dao Wu Zang. Wuji posture is our bread and butter for Qigong. Again, its goal is to give the body the alignment that allows qi flow to freely move through without any kind of obstruction or restriction, or at least with a lot less obstruction and constriction, because we still have tensions that are deeper in the body that might be associated with the organs, or might be in the front parts of the spine and the deeper parts of the joints, where it's not quite as easy to access, but man, they sure can pack in tension from our daily interaction with the world. So that's why we go through Qigong sets or forms like the Dao Wu Zang, because they're designed to systematically take us through those organs, so that by the end of it, we come back to feeling ourself on the inside and noticing that there's a lot more free flow, or a lot more sense of freedom, which sometimes doesn't feel like anything. But the places that are painful or stuck, they definitely feel a lot lighter on the whole. So our Wuji posture gives us that free flow of qi through our meridians all the way to the fingertips. And the first organ of the 5 that we go through is our lungs. So we inhale and allow the arms to drift out to the sides, and then ultimately come to rest in front of the torso like we're hugging a tree, the palms facing in toward the chest. And we want to emphasize the lungs, so we connect the thumb and the pointer finger, and this is the mudra, or the hand gesture for the metal element or for the lungs. So keeping our shoulders on the back. We inhale and allow the elbows to initiate the movements, to expand and open. Inhaling to fill. As we come to a full breath and a full extension of the arms, we tip the palms up towards the ceiling, and then start our exhale, bringing the pinkies, the edges of the hands back together, the elbows back together. As we finish our exhale, we transition with the elbows leading again into an inhale, and expanding that chest, expanding the arms wide. And allowing our mind's eye start to notice that there's a little more happening than just this breathing and moving of the arms, that we're actually able to saturate and to really fuel and clear the lungs. And our imagination can amplify this by seeing white coming in on our inhale, and seeing and feeling everything that's in the way in our lungs to the free flow, which are the emotions of grief, and shame, and guilt. Anxiety gets in there as well. So as we inhale, we fill with this beautiful white light, like big poopy clouds drifting to the blue sky. And anything that's in the way of that, any resistance in the shape of sadness or melancholy or shame, invulnerability, kind of shimmer and emit off the chest like heat vapors. Or you might see it coming out like a dark mist on your breath. While the inhale is this beautiful filling and saturating and sipping in more and more of that white light, feeling it fill through your lungs back down into your low back, where the kidneys reside. Flow with this for another minute or so. You might notice that as you're gentle in your knees, that the inhale and the elbows driving back has you moving forward onto your toes a little bit. That as you close the arms and bring the elbows together, you're pushed back onto your heels a little bit. And embrace and accentuate that. It helps to pump even more of that beautiful white into the lungs. Does so through the feet and the legs by this rocking back and forth. Really like feeling the shoulder blades really drive the lungs open. Help to fully exhale them. Good. Give yourself one more complete one wherever you're at. One more complete one. And we'll come back hugging the tree. And just notice, breathe and feel, but just kind of notice. Notice yourself in the middle of that front to back, holding on to this cylinder, this tree trunk. Good. Let go of your mudra. We're just going to drift the hands in as if on top of a beach ball. So our thumbs come in towards the chest. Full breath in, we can exhale and bring our hands down and still imagine that we're interacting with this beach ball. Now we've come underneath it. We lift this beach ball up. We can actually hold it against our belt or our belly button even. And we feel this beach ball, we feel this presence that's our palms are pressed against and also is pressing against the belly. Nice. All right, as we inhale, we allow the arms to come out to the sides, creating a T with the body. Palms are facing down towards the ground. As we exhale, the left hand comes up to the forehead, the right hand goes to the low back. Bending the knees and relaxing into the feet, relaxing the shoulders, allowing the elbows to drop a little bit. We follow this upper elbow. As we inhale, we pivot on the spine, going to that left side. We stoop down slightly at that 45-degree angle and start to scoop up. Full breath, we bring that scoop out of this ocean of chi that's around us. We bring our the back of the hand back to the forehead as we pivot again to the left side. Inhale has us dipping in this great sea of chi that we're standing in. Our exhales allowing to move through the torso and into the low back where the other hand is. Inhaling across the body. Exhaling with that left elbow high. Doing our best to just pivot on the spine. Bending the knees, maybe just barely, in order to dip nicely into this sea of chi that's right at the waist. This great vast ocean of plethora of energy to interact with, to support us. Give it this water consistency. Full dark blue energy that we saturate ourselves with. It's like our our stance became a part of how we got more nourishment, more saturation, the rocking back and forth. This one, as we bend to be able to reach slightly deeper into this sea about us. The bending is like pushing your sponge deeper into the water so that it gets more saturated. Try and feel that experience, like your whole body is the sponge. So just that little bit of bending down makes you saturate all the way up into your head, all the way into your brain. Kidneys are in charge of all of the marrow, which is the deepest part of the bones, middle of the spine, so the spinal cord and the brain all fall under this kidney and water. Flow with this one for a few more cycles. Switch. Trans. Back to the pelvis without overextending the back. But one more complete one, and we'll be back at that front position. Transition together. Cool. Once we have ourselves back in this kind of neutral first position, we've got our elbow on the left side nice and high. And I want to just notice the feet. I want to notice the soles of the feet. This is where the kidney channel begins. I want to notice if I got a nice buzz there. I want to compare them left to right, just so that I have information for myself on how those channel pathways are doing. Cool. And now as I inhale, I'm going to allow my arms to come out to that T again. For my transition, come out nice and wide, reaching towards the walls of my fingertips. And then exhale and shift into the other side. So now my right palm is facing out. My left back of the hand is against my low back, and my right elbow leads the charge. So I'm going to inhale, pivoting on the spine towards that right side, 45-degree angle. Dip, come across to complete that inhale. Feeling nice and full. Exhale, allowing that elbow to come high again, guide my pivot. The saturation happening deep in the middle of the bones. And we're scooping and then gathering with this hand, this arm. It also gets the opportunity to kind of saturate that energy and pour it down the arm like a hose, coming across the shoulders, down the other opposite arm, through that hand in the back. Go directly into the kidney organ itself. So saturate its tissue, which is the bones, marrow. and we saturate the organ itself. This one beautiful, simple, but robust movement. By breathing and allowing it to happen. Part of your ear. Very good sign. You're really filling those kidneys to their brim, filling them to the point of saturation. That's what the kidneys bloom. Ears. Tinnitus is a sign of the kidneys being exhausted and needing more of their element of water. Simple practice, even just 5 minutes of this is enough to really transform and shift the kidney back into a more natural setting. So noticing the ears can be a beautiful sign of that. So for just a few more. So one final one, and we'll meet back in that position. Inhaling, we come back out to that great T. Exhaling, we go ahead and grab a ball of chi between our hands. We do so right in front of the torso, right in front of our stomach. We got one hand that's on top of it, the other hand that's holding it. Like a big dough ball of chi. We've got this dough ball of chi, and while we do, we want to make sure that we're paying attention to our legs and that our knees are nice and soft, and that we're still accentuating our Wuji posture, which means that our toes end up being a little bit more pigeon-toed, so that the outside edges of the feet can be more parallel. This opens up the sacrum and opens up the low back. There we go. Now I can feel the neck want to drop down and relax again, and my ears can reach up towards the ceiling again. But I got this Cheeto ball, and I want to start to stretch for my third installment, for my third organ, which is the liver. The liver is all about sending out our desires, our creative influence, and then receiving what that does to the world, receiving feedback, receiving results. And so that's what we're emulating when we stretch and push, pull, and stretch that Cheeto ball out as far as we can in front of us, while also pulling the other end of it to the side of the ribs, and we change positions, kind of kneading that Cheeto ball, or stretching the polliners, so to speak. Once we start to get that, that's a simple movement that the body can do without too much thought, we can start to get into a rhythm with it and allow ourselves this nice twisting, pivoting around the spine. Got a lot of opportunity with that already this morning. It's so wonderful not only to lubricate those joints of the spine, but also to give each and every one of the organs real twisting workout, torsion, wringing them like a rag or a sponge, then also giving them a chance to refill and resaturate. This organ is the liver, where this creative energy is coming out of. Its element is the plants, everything that's green, growing. You may have all already noticed how the knees want to give a little bend and have that saturation and that pump coming up from the earth like we've had for the others. can notice if your body kind of wants a faster pace with this pushing and pulling, or if you're able to really slow it down. And notice what that is able to do for your connection, not only to what's happening in your hands, but also what's happening in the arms, what's happening in the torso, what's happening in the feet. Or you can be aware of more of your body at once. Start to kind of bench press your awareness. It gets stronger, more resilient. And that bleeds over into the moment. You're more chill in that big discussion. You're more connected to your awareness and your intuition in that meeting. Allow yourself to imagine reaching out and grabbing all of the different colors of green, drawing that back into this middle part of your torso where your liver resides. And allow yourself to push out any frustration, anything that's in the way of creative energy. Anger and resentment can be in the way. And come out like a darkness. Sometimes recognizing that you have some of that to push out will slow down the movement for sure. Change the feeling of it. Keep on breathing nice and easy. Full inhales, full exhales. Good. Give yourself one more full and complete breath. On an inhale, allow both of your hands to come out in front on top of that big beach ball again. As we're full, we start to exhale and roll that beach ball towards us, coming down underneath it. We grab it again and hold it against our belly. Inhale and exhale and feel that chi ball here. And notice that you kind of settle back onto your feet. Feel your ears reach up towards the ceiling. Relax your butt. Good. We move on to the heart. And the heart is fire. And so we allow our left hand to come to the waistline or come to the belt line and be the candle holder for our flame. And then the right hand come up to the sternum, and the thumb just rests right inside the notch of the sternum there. And the right hand becomes the flame of our candle. So this is where we'll begin and where we'll end, but it also indicates how our hands are going to move across our torso. We're going to have a lower hand, and we'll have an upper hand moving at the same time. So in our mind's eye, it's nice to kind of have some imagery to help drive why the hands are moving the way that they are. In our lower hand, we have an ember. This is the heart, which is the element of fire. So right here in the middle of our palms, we have access to this essential fire. So we have an ember in the left hand. And remember, we're standing in this great sea of chi that was easily recognized as water. So as we pull this ember through the water, it's going to create steam and propel our hand up to the level of our eyes, where we can press and clear away our vision with that upper hand. At the same time, our flame hand is going to come across the chest and burn away anything that's in the way, giving us a chance to push both palms away at the same time. We got there in kind of a weird way. Let's go back to where we started and make sure that we get there in a nice, smooth and easy way. So our left hand is back at the waist. Our right hand is the flame. The lower hand, driven by the steam that it creates passing through the water, while the upper hand just burns across the chest. Press away. So the left hand is up at the level of the eyes now. The right hand is lower. So look at our palms, reminding us that now these hands are in a new position. We have a new hand that's going to be the ember and the steam. That's the right hand's going to pass through the water now with the inhale coming across. The left hand burning anything left in the chest that's blocking our view. And that right hand comes up high, washing through vision. Looking at the hands, really allow that vision, that imagination of steam being created. It helps to drive the hand up high. Makes sense why it goes high over the other hand. Helps the brain to relax. Looking at the palms keeps us in the transition. Each side is fresh and balanced. Palms, inhaling to come across. If we can go through a few of these, we can start to make sure we're paying attention to our feet. That we're not clenching our butt too much. Make sure the knees are nice and relaxed. Two more. This is your final one, wherever you're at, running across the chest, blasting that steam up and through the eyes. We look at the palms, we come back to that beginning position with the lower hand is holding the candle and the upper hand is the flame. As we inhale, we go into a pulling down the heavens. So we bring the arms down, gathering the chi around, we gather it up over the head. We rain it down through the body, but we kind of ring the arms, keep the hands behind the pelvis. As we exhale, we keep them behind the pelvis and the fingertips really close together. We inhale and bring the hands in front, keeping the palms facing towards the floor. We make a triangle out of the thumb and the forefinger. It looks like that, facing the floor. We inhale and exhale, and then we inhale and allow the arms to drift up over the head as we inhale, keeping the shoulder blades down. We look through that triangle, try and have our palms face the ceiling. Exhaling, allowing the neck to relax, allowing the shoulders to drift down the back into the heels. As we inhale, we pivot on the spine, reaching up through the palms and the heels. We rotate around to either side, looking up, reaching up. And we exhale, coming back to the neutral position, still looking up and having our palms face the ceiling. As we inhale, we rotate in the other direction, pivoting around the spine, reaching up through the heels, exhaling to come back to neutral. Remembering your feet, softening the knees, feeling your feet and your toes grip the ground if you can as you inhale to reach up. So you're kind of reaching into the floor as you reach up. Inhaling to do so, exhaling to come back to that neutral position, trying not to let your shoulders come up into your ears. We'll only do this for a few more. Shoulders melt down the back, but you really reach with your palms as much as you can. Do one more, wherever you're at, do one more complete one. Our neutral position has us looking up through that triangle. Our shoulders relax down. Inhale and exhale. Make sure that we bend the knees and relax them. And then we break that triangle and face the palms in towards the head, towards the face. Inhaling, we bring the hands slowly down in front of the chest. As we get to about the diaphragm, we're full of breath, and we start to exhale, and we aim those palms at the belly, we aim them at the legs, all the way down the legs, we aim them at the feet as we finish our exhale. Good, we do a pulling down heavens, we gather the chi that's around, lifting it up, pouring it right through the body. Cool. So the Dao Wu Zang is plenty. Like, that's good. You could just go about your day and be nice and full and ready to go. But I also wanted to include a qigong that is very it's not very new. It's something that I've been practicing for a little while, but it's very interesting and exciting because it's something that I didn't learn from my teacher. Most of my qigong came from Dr. Dao Suzanne Friedman and the years that I got to spend as her intern. But to be able to apply the principles that I understand internally from all the repetition of her work, that I can be able to apply it to something new that I see on YouTube and have it be this powerful and useful technique and tool, just very exciting. So I wanted to share that with you. And so it's called 10 Fingers Qigong, and doing it seated, seated somewhere beautiful, you know, out in your garden or out in nature is ideal, of course. But for our exchange here, just find it something that's comfortable for you to have a seat on, but that you're not going to necessarily sink down into. We want to definitely maintain the Tai Chi pole in the front of the spine in an upright position and make sure that our feet can stay nice and flat on the ground. He demonstrates this seated, kind of in a crisscross applesauce position, or a lotus position if it's so inclined to your hips. But okay, so it's the 10 fingers. And so let's get the fingers really excited about what we're doing by doing all this friction. And before we even get into the 10 kind of quick movements, let's take our 10 fingers, which are also called the 10 dragons, and let the dragons run through the forest. The forest is our hair, and we get to, as we inhale, allow our fingers to just kind of guide and glide through our hair, through the scalp, and even imagining that dives further down into the brain to get everything that's in the way from nice natural flow. We take it down the neck to the collarbones, and we can just throw it out. A lot of joints right here at the collarbones. So we have lots of access to chi just kind of getting out. So we've got our warm dragons. Let them run through the forest, gathering up any exhausted thoughts, any brain fog, bringing it down to an exit, and just giving it over to the earth. Let's do that a couple more times. It's another place for seeing any of that mental exhaustion that's left coming out like a dark mist on your exhale. Good. Now that we've got a lot more body in our hair, now we're ready to move on. So our first one has to do with this fleshy part on the palm on both sides. So give yourself a little massage on this little fleshy part so we know what we're talking about. So I've got my forefinger here and my thumb, and they create this cool little angle. And in that angle is this fleshy part that I'm talking about. The point is called he gu. He gu. That's its name in Mandarin. So in Chinese medicine, it's called he gu. And so I'm kind of warming both these points just so I know where they are. And I'm going to make soft fists because that really exposes that he gu area. And that's what I'm going to tap. And as I do so, I start to get this kind of rhythm. It's like, okay, that's what I'm tapping. And I check back in with my torso, and my ears, they're trying to hang on to my shoulders. And so I don't want that. I want my shoulders nice and relaxed. So I relax that down. And so Brother Montue, Brother Insight, he says to do this 60 to 100 times. I do it until it feels like enough. And once I get the movement going, then my breath wants to kind of kick in and have a nice, easy, soft cadence. And I find that I don't actually count these. I'm just looking for what feels comfortable. What he says that this helps and supports, which is backed by the Chinese medicine that I've come to understand, is that this relaxes and nourishes the face. So bringing about moisture and rejuvenation to the face, especially the mouth and the under eyes. Good, shake that out. Good, this next one is this part of kind of the palm and the wrist complex where we have this nice crease. We want to just become aware of this area and give it a little gentle rub, because this area can be very, very tender, especially if we do a lot of writing or a lot of typing, loud typing happening, probably more than writing these days. But that area is where we're going to be tapping. And so we want to bring some awareness to it before we just kind of start banging there. I noticed that when I was doing Brother Insight's YouTube video, and I started banging, I was like, wow, that's really tender. So it's nice to kind of warm it up first. But I like to think of this as holding flowers. So you can kind of smell the bouquet. So we're just tapping these two areas. One strengthens the heart. So you can think about this bouquet of flowers and smelling the flowers. And you can also think about holding your heart. Your heart kind of takes care of everything. So what a neat opportunity to hold it, to have a little concentration and a focus to hold your heart. And he says 60 to 100 times, but just until it feels right, which may be a lot shorter than that. Notice that it's like 30 or 40 times, and I'm like, that feels great. I think I'm good. Good, allowing for a little shaking out really helps to kind of reset, and rolling the shoulders too. Well, there's a lot of chi moving, even though these are really simple movements. A lot of chi that gets generated by the shoulders. This is also why we want to sit forward and sit up, so that we're engaging that Tai Chi pole in front of the spine. This also makes us engage our core muscles and has us moving from then our center of gravity. Because our arms, they do not begin and end at the shoulders. They begin and end down here at the low back, the quadratus lumborum muscles. And so we want to keep that core engaged, so that all this movement that we're doing here is really coming from there. So our third one is about the edge, the knife edge of the hands, which as you rub may notice some sensitivity there. We want to keep our palms real flat to the ceiling as we bring the tapping this area. And this is for headache. So in Chinese medicine, this is a channel pathway on the small intestine channel. And it's a great one for getting rid of heat and opening other areas that release heat in the body. So it's a great kind of a key master. But I find it interesting that he says it's great for headache, because the channel pathway, while it comes here from the hand, the small intestine channel pathway goes up the arm, up the tricep, and across kind of the back of the shoulder blade, and then up the neck and into the ear. And it traverses through the ear to the opposite eye, the opposite inner corner of the eye, and emerges there in a different channel pathway. And so there's this crossing happening in the middle of the head. So I was like, oh yeah, headache, that makes sense. Check that out. Go this next one, we want to make our L7, right? We can have our pointer finger and our thumb making that nice wide angle. And then we want to clap those two angles together. Now this one can feel a little weird as you start kind of doing that clapping. But make sure that your shoulders, again, don't get stuck up in your ears for too long. You re-engage that core, feel your ears up towards the ceiling. And those other fingers, they don't have to be, I curled them in, they don't have to be like that. They can be all relaxed, but that's where we're bringing the impact. And this is also for headache, which makes sense. We remember that Hugu patting that we were doing earlier went for the face, relaxing and nourishing the face. And so same thing, just going a little bit deeper into the head by incorporating the thumb and this whole complex here. Also says it's good for toothache. Like that, because the channels, they do cross through the sinuses in the head. But this one, you know, it goes underneath the nose, through the sinuses to the opposite eye. So these channel pathways are very neat design. Check that out. This one's called the claw clap. So we've got all these points that are in the webs here that don't get a lot of attention unless, you know, we tend to do this kind of thing. But it's a really, really great point to be stimulating because it clears heat and it clears wind. And to have that cleared, especially from the upper extremities, is great to prevent things like stroke, things like Bell's palsy, these things that come on all of a sudden and without any kind of warning. We can give support and prevention for that just by doing something simple like this. Now, it has to be incorporated with our Qigong, it has to be incorporated with breath, with being fully aligned. Otherwise, not all the emphasis goes to those points. They're called Ba Feng, or the 8 wind. Feng may not be wind. Ba, I know, means 8. Brother Insight says that these restore energy, they treat exhaustion. So they're able to restore energy by releasing that which is kind of stuck, releasing heat, releasing wind from creating internal pressure. Go ahead and shake that out. And as we're halfway through here, we'll do 5 more. We want to recognize how much emphasis has been put on the face and on the brain and on the head already. And so we want to inhale and use our hands like little magnets to kind of just grab on to all of that emphasis as we inhale. And then as we exhale, we just pull it straight down back into the body, back into the torso, back into the pelvis. Just hang with it in the belly for a minute. Feeling the body, feeling the legs, feeling the feet. Brother Insight would say, the body feel good. Yeah. Cool. All right, the whole body is mapped out on the palms, on the soles of the feet, on the ears. And so by taking an impact onto all of the surface of one palm, we support all of the organs as well as the immune system. So just bringing, it's not a hard fist. My right hand isn't a hard fist, but I definitely have all of my fingers kind of curled in. And I'm not trying to hurt my other hand, but I don't want it to just be too soft. I want it to be an impact, because that vibration then is sent up the meridians, up the connective tissue, and into my torso, and informing all of those organs, just like when we were ringing them, you know, with our twists. This is a vibration to alert them to reset. Good. And switching sides, make a fist with the left hand. Our right hand is our impact zone. And we're breathing. Ears up towards the ceiling. Still engaged with the front side of our spine. Good, and shake that out. Now the backs of our hands, get some focus. And this one is another one that can be kind of sensitive. So if we want to kind of rub first to make sure that they're woke, ready. By the time we've done all this, you know, other 7
hand Qigong, most likely they're nice and warm and fine, which I think is why this one is towards the end. But this back of the hands gives opportunity to balance sugar levels in the body. So for preventing diabetes, or supporting your A1C number potentially. It doesn't matter which way it is, which hand's on top. We want to breathe. And remember, he says 60 to 100 times. That's what feels good. Impacting these can feel different on the back sides of the wrists and the forearms. You might even feel it all the way into the upper arms and the tops of the shoulders. Just allow that. Good, shake that out. And this ninth one is about the eyes. So I gotta take my glasses off. We bring some heat and some friction to the palms again. And this time our goal is to really recognize these balls of qi that we have in our palms. Once we bring them away, we have these great kind of softball size balls of qi that we're just gonna go and saturate into our eyes and into our brain. And we're saturating energy and love right into our eyes, feeling them soften, feeling them moisten because of this influence. Keeping the shoulders relaxed down, keeping the front side of the spine engaged, the ears still reaching towards the ceiling. Maybe one more time, bringing some moisture and some vibration and friction to the palms. Inhaling and exhaling. And feeling those great saturated balls of qi. Just inhale and saturate them into the sockets. Feel it. Feel the relaxation pour down into your neck, your shoulders. Feel it pour into your pelvis and your seat. Good. Shake that out. Shake your elbows out. Shake your shoulders. This last one, again, is all about the whole body getting some support all at once and really bringing a warmth from the deep within all the way to the outside. This protects us from cold invasion. One of the real pain inducers in our body is cold, and wind is usually how it gets in. And so we did a lot of great coursing of the wind, getting that wind to exit. And so now we're going to pull our warmth from deep in to, again, keep that wind at bay and not make any spots, any dry spots or any cool spots that are easy for wind and cold to get in. All right, so we've got these warm little magnet hands. We're going to use them to just kind of iron out and peel our ears, kind of peeling them off our head. We grab in deep to the root of them, kind of pinching, and then just pulling and unfolding out to the sides. We can use any combination of the fingertips to do this. We can have the thumbs kind of be the thing to reach in and peel and unfold. Or we can have the thumbs in the back and the fingers in front. Just about feeling that full expression of how big and how wide out this ear tissue can be, our cartilage and our skin. Feeling it affecting into the eustachian tubes, into the auditory canal, into the head. Noticing a lot of warmth for the ears. Another just breath or two. May even notice a nice warm glow and flow through the torso and through the legs. Shake that out. All right, one final time. Let's inhale and gather all this kind of buzz. You know, especially when we start to feel things with our Qigong, we start to think about it. Oh, that's so cool, and this is that, and oh my gosh. It brings us up into our mind, which we want to give some respite to. So we exhale and pull that energy in the mind down into the body, down to the belly. Gonna do it again. One final time. Grab any last buzzing in the mind and the head and put it in the belly. It's a good Monday. Hope you have a wonderful week. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week for Sunrise Qigong. Bye.
Thank you so much.